People benefits. I mentioned this beforehand, so the end user, it is Office. If you're using Office 2003, Office 2007, or Office 2010, they can be configured to work against the cloud service. So there's a small little change, which I'll show you when I show you what the BPOS environment, but it is the same experience that they're used to using. When they open up Outlook, it is their email, rather from on-premise, it's from the cloud. When they're accessing or editing content, it's being delivered through the cloud-based service within a familiar Microsoft environment, either from the rich full client or through a web browser. So again, from an end user, it's to minimize the impact of the transition. We do that very well. We have a lot of training resources around this as well. From an integrated communication point of view, you've seen the 4 elements. And one of the benefits of getting this as a service is that it allows you to turn on new capabilities without the related hardware or software or installation costs. So how many people here are familiar with instant messaging or use instant messaging, or Skype, for example, or MSN? Yeah. So most people are getting aware of that, and most people now can see a benefit to the business for it, because if you think of it from your family lives, if you have family in Australia, you get to see that they're available, you can start communicating with them, you can have a video call. Why not apply that to the business point of view in an enterprise type solution, which you have control over? And for you, all you have to do is sign up to the subscription and enable it, and that's it. If I take my experience regarding Office Communication Server or the instant messaging from Microsoft, a typical on-premise installation in Ireland is 3 servers to get instant messaging, get presence, get video web conferencing, and telephony integration. From a roadmap point of view, we'll be providing that to you as a cloud for a service that you can turn on and off without the investment on-premise. And it's just something that you can deliver extra capabilities very easily to your employees. And it gets back to David's messaging regarding, although we're in a difficult time as a nation and from business point of view, there's still investment needed, and there's still areas of productivity that you can very easily turn on and off. And as we look forward to the turnaround that will be promised after the general election, I'm not going to get to politics or anything like that because I have no knowledge or interest. But things will turn around, it's all cyclical, and as David said, investment in the future, investment in productivity will help your businesses be more competitive. And it's just to look at your investment in IT and to build on top of that. There's a lot more that you can get out of Microsoft products than just Word, Excel, Access, and services like these can complement it very easily. Secure access anywhere without VPN. So one of the key elements of BPOS, and I'll show this, is that it gives you a little sign-on client for you to securely access the information. But what it also gives you an element of mobility, because what you can do is that you can allow home users to install this client and then get access securely to their information. So if you think of the investment that you typically need regarding VPNs and getting back into the server into work to get access to your information, a large part of that can be negated by giving them access to BPOS, because irrespective of where they are, once they have the sign-in client, they can securely get access to the information. So they're not looking for a fob, they're not looking for a VPN key, they don't have to open up a window that's asking them for a separate username and password. The sign-in client will take care of that for them, and they can start working at home or offline or remotely as required. And that's one of the advantages of BPOS as well. And then the right offer for right users, the flexibility regarding the licensing depending on how people and their role within the organization, there's choice there as well. Integrated capabilities. So again, regarding the tenants, if I just go into a bit of information, obviously I mentioned this messaging. Calendaring. How many people at the moment use calendars to schedule their meetings or their client meetings and customer meetings? It's something that's people are beginning to more and more get into. Like if I step back before John Microsoft, it was a diary beside you and a file fax or whatever. And there's definitely a culture change that people don't want others to see what they're doing in their calendars, or they don't give access to, or they're suddenly going, yeah, I've got the meeting, I have to, I know it's in my head. I think people are getting more structured within their processes. And one of the elements that I typically focus on is around calendar. There's an advantage to calendar, both from your own time management and from your organizational point of view. And we expand this out into, you can manage your calendars, you can manage calendars around meeting rooms, you can manage calendars around resources in your organization. You can see a side-by-side view. So you can see your calendar and your employees, and you can see when you're free. Something very simple. But if you think of the old days about, okay, are you free at 2:30 on Friday? No, I'm not. What about 3:30? And you're just sending emails and you're ringing each other. Now from a scheduling point of view, you can open up Outlook, you can have multiple calendars there, and you can see when people are free. And it's little elements of that that's the starting point. Now, I could be completely wrong and say everybody here in the room is doing that now, but I know typically when I'm presenting, people have their own look and feel regarding the calendars and their own rules, but there's extra things that you can do that this hopefully will drive awareness of and be of the benefit to the organisation. Workflow. So when I talked about SharePoint at the beginning, I talked about document management, and it's a repository for files for you to collaborate more effectively. But what SharePoint also delivers is a workflow capability where we can look at your manual business processes and map that against the technology. So for example, if you wanted to raise a new invoice, for example, you probably have an accounts package or you probably have something else. What we can do with SharePoint is that you can actually raise the request in SharePoint, and that can trigger an action that can go out and do the rest of the manual process, as in chasing for the signature of somebody who signs it off. Rather than an email or waiting for them or finding out that they're on holiday, the workflow will take care of it, and it will give you a period of time for them to action it, or then it will automatically go to the next step in the chain for them to sign off on it as well. Expense reports, appraisals, holiday requests, all of these can be captured and brought into an automated process in SharePoint, rather than, you know, I print out, I want to take, I don't know, Valentine's Day off, hand it in, can you sign off on it please? All of that can be brought into the technology very, very easily. And again, the investment that David and his team have made in the software development makes it a very easy transition to do as well. Document sharing, the ability, as I said, to share documents, not send them out as attachments, the ability to have offline access to that information. So if you are traveling, if you are visiting clients, you can open up your laptop, you can open up your email account, and you have the customer related information there with you, the latest copy of. So if there's any related documents regarding proposals or elements outside of other systems that you're using, they will be available to you in your Outlook client for you to view, edit, and then it will sync back up automatically when you're back in the office so you've got connectivity. So the key principle is that it gives you a centralized managed store for this information rather than multiple copies. And only people who have access to it will have access to it as well. It will complement your existing security processes within your own environment. And then presence and archiving. So again, from a capability point of view, even though we're talking about 4 elements as such, there's a lot of business aspects that it can bring, or capabilities to enable your employees. So deskless worker. This, as I mentioned, from an email, from a SharePoint point of view, is basically a light experience. So from an email point of view, they can get access to a browser and they get access to their email. They don't have full mobility, they don't need a full client. They just need to log on somewhere and they can get their email. They can send and receive, they can view, they can consume. But it's a cheaper option depending on their role. And then from a SharePoint point of view, the information that you're collaborating on, if they just need to read, they're not collaborating or editing, that's a cheaper option as well. So it just highlights the flexibility of this model to match your business requirements.
Patrick, sorry, can you say what those prices are, just so you pass them through? Ish.
I have the spreadsheet with me, I can show you exactly. I don't want to say it's like 152 on it. Yeah. Okay, ish. It's around the €1.30, 50 mark.
Okay.
So, Barbara, I have the spreadsheet.
Talk to you later.
Yeah, I have the exact details with me. Question?